You don't know this artist, but trust me, you know his art. Familiar? Yeah, come on, you know it. And if you don't, well, I'm about to put you onto some good because Robert Valley is a master of stylization. And today we're going to be robbing him and redrawing my own artwork in his art style. Okay, first let's take a look at some of Valley's art. He's mostly known for his work on a bunch of top-notch films. Zima Blue and Ice in the Love, Death and Robots anthology, and also Pear Cider and Cigarettes, which was nominated for an Academy Award. He also has published multiple art books as a series titled Massive Swerve. I want to focus on these today because they're absolutely full to the brim with amazing drawings. Let's take a flick through and get some first impressions. By the way, if you're under 18, please stick to browsing his Instagram, as there are many not safe for work artworks in Massive Swerve. But luckily, I'm no ankle biter, so I'll find the relevant bits for you and put them in this video. There are two main things that strike me first about Robert Valley's style. First of all, the exaggeration. I mean, that's what we're here for. Valley pushes every element of his subjects to the max. I particularly like how the foreshortening and proportions are emphasized, as it gives a lot of purchase to create dynamic poses and composition. Another thing, geometric designs. As well as having their proportions stretched and squeezed, the character designs of Robert Valley are incredibly geometric. Take this collection of drawings for example. It's pretty easy to see the overall shape of the character. Valley seems to prioritize sharper and more dramatic angles, but a lot of corners are rounded so they appear organic. I'm gonna start off by copying some of his drawings and trying to replicate his art style. One thing I didn't notice at first was his emphasis on value. I found that when I was copying his drawings, it didn't feel like a Robert Valley drawing until I added some harsher values under the character's face or hair. A lot of Valley's character illustrations, particularly in the face, are more concerned with the values that make up their face shape and features rather than the lines. This doesn't apply to all his drawings, but it's something I find quite unique about most of them. Another thing is that in Valley's style, most limbs are very graphic and simple in their overall shape, but they're made a little bit more interesting through the use of cross-contour lines, which show the form of the object by tracing along its surface. There are organic ways to use these lines, and Valley does this splendidly, detailing the folds and seams of clothing to make the character look more dimensional, even though the shapes he uses are quite simple. Robert Valley also likes to draw characters long. Limbs thin out towards the extremities and are very straight and decisive in where they end up. I also noticed that his line art, despite being digital, feels very sketch-like, as if you'd see the illustration in a sketchbook. I'm way too used to drawing with my big tablet, and the lines on there are way too smooth. So that's why I'm doing today's studies using the Intangbo X7, which Pablo has kindly blessed me with. So I'm going to talk about that a little while I finish off the rest of these drawings. After setting up the tablet out of the box and taking a vexing amount of time to set up the driver, I got to drawing. The drawing experience using the Intangbo X7 was tough at first because the last time I used a graphics tablet I was an amoeba, but I found that the mapping was super great compared to my last graphics tablet. I really liked how small and compact it was, but it doesn't compromise on actual drawing area. I swear my last tablet used to take up like half of my desk, but the drawing area was tiny, like what's even the point? The buttons on the Intangbo are super useful. I find the bottom left the most helpful. Can you guess what that one is? And that's just one of 5 programmable buttons, most of which I did not make good use of because I was drawing in MS Paint. But if you use something like Clip Studio, you can customize these to be whichever shortcut you use most. The Intangbo X7 also has a spinny wheel, and I know I'd be using this constantly because it's so useful for changing the brush size and moving around your canvas. Something super unique about this tablet is that it has Android support. So that's what that little top dial is for. But to be honest, I don't really see the use in this because I can just draw directly onto my tablet screen anyways. Maybe if I want to prevent getting horrible neck injuries from my perfect artist posture, I can try this feature out. But until then, I'm going to enjoy my spine curling up like a slinky. Thank you so much to Pablo for sending me their Intangbo X7. It was super fun to try out a graphics tablet after so long, and it really helped me get these studies down. The color is also so nice and it fits in with my desk setup so well. If you want to try out this tablet for yourself, links are in the description. So considering this is the character we're going to be drawing, this is going to be tough. Most of Robert Valley's subject matter is lanky, and he seldom draws fat people, so I couldn't really find any references to how he does so. Anyways, I'm gonna give my best crack at this. So for some reason I started off with mapping out the shapes of the character, which was pretty much an irrelevant move because I did not use this guideline whatsoever. The sketch stage was pretty easy, but I quickly realized that the line art brush that I was using was way too thick, so I was gonna have to do like another drawing over the top of this one. One of the first differences I noticed between our art styles is that Robert Valley really relies on realism, whereas my art style is more cartoony. I first had to look up some references for Southeast Asian women because that is what Xanthi is. Trying to replicate my level of stylization using Robert Valley's art style just really wouldn't work because he's very concerned with facial planes and, as I said before, values. I then started drawing the hair. Robert Valley really likes to do like these stripped lines in the hair with a lot of shading towards the top and bottom of the bangs. Bangs seem to be very important and a very recurring motif in his art, so I guess that Xanthi was a good pick for this study in that aspect. I was trying to push the values everywhere I could. I was making parts of line art thicker where there'd be more shadow, and honestly I was just kind of letting loose with like where the drawing was going. I'm not so used to drawing with like a bit of a lighter hand and a bit of a messier vibe. Usually I'm trying to get the lines like straight down, like looking smooth and everything, so this was honestly really refreshing and fun. I super enjoyed drawing the curly whirly pigtails on her head. I noticed that Robert Valley does like to draw wavy curly hair and make a very playful shape, so I used that on Xanthi's pigtails. Anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Pablo for sending me their lovely Intangbo X7, and thank you to my precious Narps and Grubs for supporting me and this channel and helping me continue to make silly art videos. Okay.